Here we are, live in the flesh. 8:15, 16, 17, 8:17 official start time.
Cool.
Apologies for those who have been eagerly waiting, at least two of you, for the show to start. But
thanks, Mom and Dad.
A little behind schedule here. Myself, not Matt, myself. Matt assures me that he had his little one in bed by 6:30 tonight, so I feel like a real jackass.
Nah, you're good.
No, I got held up covering high school sports. Just want to make sure everybody knows that. And then I also had to make an emergency pit stop at the old McDiesels.
The Golden
By
Arches,
the way,
baby.
I got to be honest with you, Matt. Huge redemption tour right now for McDiesels. I guess it's hard for $1 billion company to redeem themselves, but the $5 meal deal right now, hands down for the money, can't be beat.
Amen to that. Amen to that, brother. Amen.
Except for I've always been a big fan of Wendy's Biggie Bag. If we're going to go fast food like meal deals, Wendy's was the original like super value meal. It was originally the first like dollar menu, except it was 99 cents, so they technically were better, than the dollar menu. And I was a big fan of the square burgers. I mean, I know they're still square, but back when Wendy's was yellow with Dave Thomas alive, it's slapped.
Good old days.
All right, fast food talk. We're going to side that for just a little bit, transition a little back to football. I am Nick Sisson of N2 Media, shaking my laptop, and that is Matt Evans of Evans Rankings. I know you've heard of us. Excuse me. That's what happens when you drink McDiesels. We are so glad to finally be with you here talking some high school sports. We've done this a few weeks so far, Matt, so we should be experts by now. But I got to tell you, I wasn't perfect in my bracket last week in a couple classes. I did manage to get some of them accurate all the way through, but man, I don't even know where to start from last week. I guess I'll go with you. Where were you at last week? You over in the Tri-Cities. You had to have caught a game or two, right?
Yeah. So I made my way over to Fran Rouge Stadium on Friday night for a 5:00 kickoff between Liberty Christian and Acosta, and I made it about 10 minutes of game time before my fingers were frozen, and my wife and my son were at a concert, and I was like, you know what? It's warmer over there. And so I went to the concert, and, at that point when I left, it was 28-0 Liberty Christian. They were kind of cruising, and so I wasn't too I didn't think that I would be missing much, and I really didn't. But, big shout out to all the fans who drove up from Westport. I mean, there were, I don't know, probably 30, 40 fans that drove up. And I mean, that's not a fun drive, especially, on a Friday night and, in conditions that are not really ideal. But yep, that's where I was on this last weekend. What about you? Did you go to a game this last weekend?
I did not. And I got to tell you, it felt fantastic. I've been exhausted lately with getting everything set up to transition into basketball, trying to work on some stuff for getting the schedule all lined out and some sponsors and stuff. But I did get a chance to sit on the couch and watch some of the games that were going on around the state. I peeked in on Camas against Curtis. First half was really tight in that ball game. The next day I had a chance to tune into a little bit of Skyview Bothell. That was a pretty good game. Skyview ends up coming back late in that one. Bothell really gave him a pretty good test throughout the ball game. I thought, honestly, by the time that we, went to 0-0s on the scoreboard, I thought Bothell might end up squeaking that game out. Going back to that Camas and Curtis game, it took a while for the Papermakers to get going, but their defense did a pretty good job of shutting Curtis down. Less than 100 yards for the entire game. Good stats from Coach Leveski helping me out with that. Only touchdown that Camas allowed in that game was a defensive score that Curtis got on a pick six. So the Papermakers defense technically pitches a shutout against what I deemed one of the most dangerous 16 seeds that the tournament has probably ever seen. But man, on Saturday, the game that captivated me, Matt, I don't know if you had a chance to peep in on it. And it was really the most surprising game of the whole weekend for me was Lake Stevens against Meade. I really give the Meade Panthers a lot of credit, but it really made me think about Lake Stevens and the state of their defense. I believe that they turned over, I want to say 9 starters on defense or 10 starters on defense going from last year's championship team into this season's. And in their losses, they really hadn't given up a lot, but Meade put 49 on them, and Lake Stevens couldn't stop the run to save their life that game. And the same could be said for Meade with Jay-Sean Lemar, running wild on the Meade Panther defense. But that looked like a game that whoever had the ball last was going to win. And it almost turned out that way. Lake Stevens ended up getting the one stop in the fourth quarter that they needed to get. So that was a crazy back and forth game.
Yeah, I had about 6 people in my DMs on Saturday afternoon about the third quarter of that game going, "Hey, are you watching this game? You watching this game?" And so I had it on in the background, and obviously I had an interest in that one, knowing that the winner was going to come down and play Chiawana down here. But yeah, it was definitely an exciting game. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how Lake Stevens can shore up that rush defense, because they're going to be going up against a very underrated runner over here in Braxton Feldman on Saturday in Pasco.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also had a chance to peep in a little bit on that Asotin matchup against Clallam Roslyn, and wow, I mean, the Bi-County 2B league really had a tough weekend overall. I mean, Northwest Christian ends up losing to LaSalle, which I don't think that's a terrible loss, considering that Tri-Cities Prep came back and beat Toledo at the buzzer. I think it's fair to say that those teams representing that spot there in the Tri-Cities area is pretty well deserving of where they're at, and winning a couple games already, respectively, as the 8 seed and the 10 seed. But I was really surprised, Matt, to see the discrepancy between how Clay Ellen Roslyn played against Asotin. Asotin had to dig deep. I sent you a message and said, man, these guys are in real trouble right now, Matt. And at the exact moment, they were like, oh, whoa, the N2 radar just went off. We better pump it into another gear here, guys. And then they ended up doing that and coming back late, and they survived that 2-15 matchup.
Yeah, that's just it's a it's a staple of Jim Holman's teams that they may be down, but they're not gonna give up. They don't make mistakes. I shouldn't say don't make mistakes. They when crunch time comes around, they know what they need to do to win, and they execute when they need to. And obviously, coach is probably not happy with them digging themselves into such a big hole, but I think that he's just very grateful, and hope that community, I think, is just very grateful to be able to suit up for another week and give it another go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm interested to see how things progress now that they're going to play LaSalle in the next round in a 2-10 matchup. Mostly people from the LaSalle area probably had their brackets filled with them winning that game. But I wasn't one of them, honestly. I thought Northwest Christian, a well-coached team, talented, was the right pick in that scenario. But turns out that I was wrong, which occasionally happens. Although if you look at the standings, right now and the potential for how we finish, me and some bum also named Matt are tied together. It really made my picks feel lucky knowing that I'm tied with him, by the way. But yeah, I mean, that Onalaska and Newport game, right? That's where I'm kind of going with this whole thing with the Asotin, right? And Bi-County. If you look at how Onalaska played against Newport and Asotin, right, against them, Jody Nalen texted me and said, hey, this is the same team that played Asotin to a 28-14 loss earlier in the year, and Onalaska's got them tapping out at halftime right now. I mean, right now, Matt, for my money, right, the Loggers against the Okanagan Bulldogs, right? Is that what the Bulldogs? Mm-hmm. Yeah, those guys look like the championship game in the semifinals right now in 2B.
Yep, I agree, and I think that that's going to be one of those things that we'll see at Husky Stadium in 3 weeks when the winner of that semifinal game takes on the winner of the other one. I don't think it's going to be close, and I think that we'll see that on Alaska probably should have been 3, and yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think On Alaska really came out with a real chip on the old log that
Mm-hmm.
day, and
Oh yeah.
really wanted to stick it to anybody who was on the committee or any doubters out there. It's a long trip for Newport, right? I mean, let's give them some
Oh
credit
yeah.
for
Mm-hmm.
going out there and playing the game on a Friday night. Tough trip to make and play. So give them a lot of credit for making the trip and getting to where they got. But yeah, man, that Loggers and Freeman game coming up this week. I mean, I know we're kind of putting the cart in front of the horse here by saying they're going to get to Okanagan, vice versa, Okanagan beating Tri-Cities Prep. But Freeman was a 1A school last year. It wouldn't shock me if they were our game and able to win that game against Onalaska. I just don't know, man. I think Onalaska is just on an absolute mission right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be tough to beat them.
Yeah, I do
They
too.
got
And
Ricardo
especially
Rodriguez
Yep.
as a monster. He's for at running back. Sorry to cut you off there.
Oh no, you're good. Especially with Freeman having to make the trip across the state too. I mean
Yeah.
that's I don't know if they're going to be going over Friday night or if they're going to be going over Saturday morning, but no matter what, they're going to have to fight the bus legs as well. And yeah, I think that on Alaska is going to it's it's the old saying, it's the shirts. You go to Loggertown and you see the run the damn ball shirts, and that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna eat up the
Oh
clock.
my
They're
God.
gonna run the ball. It's up at Centralia, so I think that that's a turf field too, right? So
Yep. Yep.
so you're not necessarily gonna get the old muddy games that that you'd probably get down in Ani, but I mean, who knows? Maybe that's that plays to on Alaska. Instead of 3 yards in a cloud of dust, we're looking at 5 yards and some turf pellets.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a game environment for sure, though, at Tiger Stadium in Centralia when those two teams lock horns. Justin's feeling triggered by me bringing up Freeman. I bet Eatonville, Skip, is also feeling triggered. He's just not typing it out if he's watching. So shout out Skip Smith and the Eatonville Cruisers. Danny Salonen, coach there, brings up a great question, and I love these questions, right? It's like a would you rather, more surprising final score result. Graham Kapowson versus Arlington or Meade versus Lake Stevens? I'll let you go first on that, Matt.
My answer would be Arlington GK. I thought that game would be a lot closer than it was. I also thought the Kennedy Catholic Richland game would be closer, and I definitely heard that from the Kennedy Catholic folks. So yeah, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, no, I thought that GK was going to put up more of a game there against Arlington, and in all honesty, it makes me wonder, if those seeds were switched, how does Arlington Meade go compared to GK Lake Stevens? So I don't know. But yeah, I'd go the more surprising score for me was Arlington GK.
Yeah, I mean, Kennedy Catholic, I had them in the semis when we did our preseason show this year when they had Indiana Jones and Devin Forehand coming back for that team. And, I knew that they were going to have a pretty good record throughout the year because their schedule really wasn't going to test them a whole lot. Richland's schedule, on the other hand, Matt, as you know, it tested them. And I thought that they would be a little bit more game headed into that matchup. I thought the offense would perform a little bit better. I'm more shocked that Richland didn't put up more than 7, more so than I am that Kennedy Catholic put up 49. Back to Danny's question here. I was honestly more surprised with Arlington 42-6 over Graham Kapowson than I was the Lake Stevens and Meade score. The only reason I say that is because Graham Kapowson is a few years removed from beating a 7A team from Georgia after completing an undefeated season. They're a program. They got a really, really bright future with a freshman quarterback. And, I guess that game is kind of indicative of maybe a freshman, starting in the first playoff game. And for me, Arlington is really came up with 2 of the most impressive wins so far in 4A. I mean, I won't call them underrated wins, but beating Lake Stevens, there's nothing underrated about that. Beating Graham Kapowson in a first-round game, 42-6, to me, I mean, that's just a shock. I would never have guessed that.
Yep.
Would I've been okay if you told me that Lake Stevens won a 3-point game and then you told me that the two teams combined for 101 points. I'd say I'd love to watch it, I wouldn't be surprised Lake Stevens winning that game, but yeah, their defense giving up that many. It's a great question, Danny. I love that question, but man, I tell you what, I thought that we were going to see some closer games up and down that whole bracket. That Bothell and Skyview game probably stole the show, honestly, in terms of a low-scoring defensive battle. Bothell really came on strong to end the season. You got to give those guys a ton of credit. Tough matchup in a 10-7 game, and they had the lead. I think they led 13 to, I want to say, was it 13-6 or 13-3 late in the ball game? And Skyview ends up getting the last couple scores. Even that Chiawana Puyallup game, Matt, I thought Puyallup was going to keep it a little bit closer than that, but bro, this Chiawana Lake Stevens game that's coming up this week, I mentioned in the teaser on Twitter, artist formerly known as Twitter, like if you could change a pick right now in any of the brackets, any one of them, what would you choose? And I came up with, I would change my pick from Lake Stevens getting to the championship game. I'd take Chiawana now in that game. If I could go back and change my bracket, I would say Chiawana is going to win that game. And I honestly would probably put him in the finals against Camas instead. I think that their combination of offense with defense, they're going to come up with more stops against Lake Stevens, I think, in this game coming up. So
yeah, and Chiawana's been forcing turnovers like it's candy. I mean, they're just. I think if I remember correctly, I think they forced like 5 turnovers against Puyallup. They had the special teams, all 3 phases of the game. They're just humming right now, and I think that that game is going to be a really interesting thing. I think that in my opinion, I think what we saw in the 4A bracket is we talked a lot about the parity and how we thought that this is the strongest field overall, but I think what it showed us is that top tier is the gap between the tier A and tier B is bigger than we thought, because if you look at those scores, number 1, 35-point win, number 4, 42-point win, number 2, 17-point win, number 5, 31-point win, number 3, 42-point win. So all the top 5 won by significant margins. And, if anything right there, we're just, we know that it was that depth. There was a lot of good depth, but the top is a lot better than we thought that they were as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, and we're getting spoiled, honestly, as we get into round 2 in the 4A bracket. When you look at that Arlington result against Graham Kapowsin, taking on Camas in the second round, that's a scary 1-8 matchup right there based on how Arlington is playing. Kennedy Catholic and Zaga Pratt, battle of undefeateds there. Sumner, Skyview. There's a common opponent equation in that game, Matt, as you know. With West Lynn, and Skyview really had a tough time in that game because they were down their starting quarterback, Doogie Poindexter. We'll see what the difference might be this time. You don't really have to worry about that comparison though, because West Lynn's kind of an anomaly. I think on paper you got to favor Sumner, obviously not just because they're the 2 seed, but because they actually had a legitimate chance of winning that game before West Lynn came back late. Skyview was really never in it. And then Chiawana Lake Stevens, I mentioned that game earlier. For my money, this might be the best second round matchups that we might see out of all of the brackets, but there's still plenty of good games to talk about in other brackets too.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. I'm looking forward to it. I think that looking at the game that I think I'm most excited about in 4A, I think I'm looking at I'm honestly looking at Gonzaga Prep and Kennedy Catholic, mostly because I just it's an interesting clash of styles, and I think that one, it's a 6:00 start on Friday, but I think that you may be good for an 8:30 dinner reservation based on how those 2 teams play.
Yeah, I'm excited for all of them equally, to be honest with you. If there was a game you could go and change, what would it be?
There we go. Sorry, I went away there for a second.
You're good. I said if there was a game that you could change your pick on, which you can't, but if you could, in any class, what would it be?
In any class, what would it be? I think that I would That's a good question. I would probably honestly, I think that I would look at 4A, and I would probably swap I'd definitely swap Arlington for Graham Kapowsin. Um, 4A was
No,
the one I
going forward
oh, going
after the
forward.
yeah, after this
Oh,
round, right? You filled out your bracket. If
nah.
and based on how the results went, how would you go?
I'm good. I
You,
feel good. I feel good. You, me, and Matt have the have the same most of max amount of points to available to us, and so I feel very good about what I still have going. All my state champions are still there. A bunch of my I think I still have two. Like I think I have all but maybe one or two semifinal. Like I'm feeling good about what I still got going on.
good. Um, Obviously, if I could go back in time, I would not be picking Liberty Bell over Adna or over Napavine for that matter, because they won't get there. It's going to be Adna, surprising win there in the 2B ranks this last week. The Pirates, man, they're sneaky decent, actually. I
Mhm.
mean, I think they're better than decent personally. And you know what? You know who's been banging the Adna drum all year long? It's the guy to my that way right there.
Mhm.
Matthew Evans of Evans
Yep,
Rankings loves the Pirates.
I do. It's not just the Pirates. I love their coach. I love Aaron Cochran, man. I got to know him when he was up at Goldendale here, and just I mean, just watching what he did with that program, and then getting the opportunity to go to Adna, he was really excited to go over and work over in Adna, and just you know, I've seen what he can do, and I just had no doubt in my mind that given going to have a tough year last year, but once he gets his system in there, and once he gets the kids buying in and believing, I had no doubt that they were just going to shoot up to the top. So yeah, I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit surprised by that score, to be honest, but I'm very happy for coach and the boys to get through.
Yeah, it's not many times that you could say in a playoff game 8 points is going to advance you around, but yeah, I mean Liberty Bell, a team that has found so much success over the last few seasons, being able to throw the football. Obviously, a little bit different, with 11 guys on the field as opposed to 8, but still a very formidable team. I mean, at home, this team put up 22, I want to say, against Okanagan, and
Mhm.
it's just kind of a tough time to have your worst offensive game of the year, and your defense only allows 8, and you still can't come away with the W. You can't help but feel bad for the Mountain Lions of Liberty Bell there. So yeah, a chance to rebound. I thought that they had a pretty good year overall. But yeah, I got to give big credit to the C2BL and Napavine and On Alaska and Adna. Even Toledo lost on the last play, which there
Mhm.
was some controversy on, in terms of, um, a first down didn't get measured. That was a pretty close spot. And, from all the reports I heard, that the Toledo side was probably less than thrilled with how the game ended and how it finished. At the end of the day, I mean, one play made a big difference. It wasn't the entirety of the game. It really never comes down to a single play, but tough break for the Riverhawks of Toledo. So, but yeah, that's down in the 2B ranks. Really in 2B, Matt, I'm just going to stick there since we're talking about it. Okanagan 62-0 over Friday Harbor. The game I just mentioned, Tri-Cities Preps 13-10 at the Horn against Toledo. On Alaska 60-8 over Newport. Freeman over Goldendale, a little bit closer than I thought there, Matt. 43-34. A lot of points being scored in that game. And then, of course, Soton comes back 29-26. LaSalle upsets Northwest Christian 14-9. Napavine 52-0 over Columbia Burbank. And then that 8-3 9-inning affair between Adna and Liberty Bell, and that sets up your round 2 of Okanagan and Tri-Cities Prep, On Alaska Freeman, Asotin LaSalle, Napavine, Adna. You got a league game there with Napavine and Adna going at it, and it'll be the second meeting between those teams. It was 27-13 Napavine, but other than that, I believe that this is going to be the first meeting for the other folks.
Yep, that is correct. There aren't any other matchups.
Before we move off of 2B real quick, because I don't have a whole lot on there other than just saying what the scores were. I had a chance to watch that huddle video film of Carter Kukumbu, and dare I say, this is probably a bad comparison, really, truthfully, because this guy that I'm going to compare him to is an NFL quarterback. Was an NFL quarterback at least. But Matt, I know he's going to play tight end, but when he's at quarterback right now at this level, he reminds me of Cam Newton. Like he stands above everybody, and he's so methodical. Before he puts his foot in the ground, he can run physical, but he can run away from you too. Like to get to the sideline, he's just such a load, and then he can pass the ball, places it well. Guys don't have to stop and come back to it. I'm not saying he's going to be a Cam Newton type quarterback, but for this level, watching him play against high schoolers, this guy's got like every tool that you would want for a high school quarterback: big and physical. And the offensive line blocks incredibly well for him too. It just looks unfair right now.
Yeah, and that's just a well coached program up there. It's definitely one I really hope to see in a couple weeks. I've been looking forward to the potential of seeing Okanagan play, and unfortunately, I'm getting either get to see Okanagan or Onalaska, barring any upsets. I'd love to see both of them. No, it's only going to be one, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess.
All right. I'm going to jump back up a little bit here, Matt.
Let's go.
I'm going to go to the 3A classification. Plenty to talk about here as well. But your boy, N2 here, correctly had a 13-4 upset with Seattle Prep taking down Lakes 34-14. Hey, how about that, committee? Look, what happened there? And then Roosevelt beats Federal Way 40-0. I got to be honest with you. I had Federal Way as a potential sleeper as well. I didn't pick them. Thought Roosevelt would win. But, man, the Teddy Roosevelts, they come out hard, 40-0 in that game there. And then another head scratcher, Bellevue and Stanwood, 24-14. I mean, I know I gave Stanwood its props beating Evergreen. But, man, they really gave Bellevue almost all they wanted that game, Matt.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I had a feeling that game would be closer. Just if Stanwood could keep the mistakes to a minimum, they have the ability to drain the clock, and they stood toe to toe with Bellevue for 3/4 of that game, and we talked all season. That's another team that I was really high on all year. They had a couple close losses earlier this year. There's a chance that if those go the other way, they're what 8-1, 9, 8-2. And seated significantly higher. So, yeah, I mean, they a lot of people looked at that score and were surprised, but I don't know if I was as surprised as most people were.
Yeah, I mean, styles do make football games, and that wing T versus wing T can sometimes provide you with results like this, to where they know the system so well. They know the points of attack, they know the blocking schematics. It did have the makings for a potential slower, closer game, which is what we ended up getting there. So, but Bellevue still, I mean, they're prohibitive favorites here. Meanwhile, like you take a step down, right? The 2-15 matchup between O'Dea and Mercer Island, and that game was over at halftime. It was like 43-0 O'Dea, and yeah, I mean, I got to be honest with you. I mean, just as much as you like your picks and where you're at right now, I'm feeling pretty good about O'Dea potentially matching up with Bellevue in the championship game if it gets to that point. Feeling pretty good.
Yeah, this the 3A bracket was the only one where there were no perfect brackets going out of the first round. Everybody missed at least one.
Myself included. You know which one I missed? Mount Tahoma and Decatur. Yep. Mount Tahoma, man. We had a comment earlier. They do have some quality wins so far this year. They've got some quality losses too. I mean, they really are a tough squad. Anybody who's got the moniker Thunderbirds has got to be tough in the state of Washington, Matt.
Yeah, no, seriously. They had a win over Lakes. I mean, come on, they're a very well coached team. They played non-league. I can't remember. They had a pretty tough non-league if I remember correctly. But good team, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they go going forward. I mean, they've got themselves an extremely tough game with O'Dea here, but crazier things have happened.
Well, we got Mercer Island coach DJ Mims here. Congratulations on a great season, coach. Tough to end it on just a single loss, but after seeing O'Day firsthand, it says he doesn't know if anyone's going to beat him. They're loaded on defense, man. They've got so many dudes, and I've always been a big fan of the Irish, and it made me think about posing a question. I don't know if now's the right time for it here, Matt. I think that there could be some strong feelings for it, but should there be a separate league or a separate championship eligible bracket for private schools, perhaps in the state of Washington? But I'll just give you I found that there are just as many public schools that win championships as there are private schools. So I don't really necessarily think that there's a huge advantage between, private versus public, but I figured it's at least maybe worth a conversation someday.
My opinion on that would be that I would, in the regular season, I'd keep them together, and then in the postseason, I'd split them up. And I know that would be difficult logistically, but I think that at the end of the day, I think that the playing field isn't level, and I know it's never going to be officially level. But if obviously you would have to have a like bigger private school, smaller private school bracket. It may have to be maybe 8 teams, maybe 4, who knows. But yeah, I would like to, in a perfect world, I would love to see, the public schools have their bracket, and obviously the private schools have their own, but
Hello, Meg. Thanks for being with us. Everybody, you guys are doing phenomenal in the comment section. Matt and I are desperately trying to get to all of them here. Bolson Sports, love Bolson Sports, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
How does Royal compare to all their dominant teams this year? Well, they've won 7 out of the last 8 state titles, so I'd say they compare pretty good. What was the only team they lost to, by the way, Justin Domashevitz? Who was it there in that? God, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but
there's an interesting one in the that last one from Domashevitz there. Should private schools be required to put at least one classification up? I mean, the only issue with that would be, what do you do with the schools that 4A would obviously be the top? I mean, it's so I mean you'd have a big log jam there, but I could see I don't know. It's really tough. In that circumstance, I'd even like to maybe go a step further and maybe see some sort of ability to, if you play really well, maybe bumping up, maybe like a European soccer model of a promotion and relegation sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean it's an idea. I mean obviously it's pretty out there for prep football in the Pacific Northwest, but I mean obviously we're looking for Kinko's tried the tiers. We're going to see how that works out over the next couple of years. Who knows what the right answer is, to be fair.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong here, Matt, but doesn't O'Day and Eastside Catholic have enrollment numbers around the 300 level?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I do know it's an all boys school like at O'Day, for instance, but I mean they're going up against schools that have up to 1,200 enrollment, right, in 3A
Mm-hmm.
class. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I guess it just depends on what resources are available for these private schools to offer for kids to come and play there. I think there's a line that has probably been addressed, but really hasn't been addressed or enforced, and that's really just kind of the benefit aspect of it all. I mean, obviously no one's getting cars, right, or cash or free room and board and housing and stuff, but it raises an interesting question of what happens when NIL comes into play, if it comes into play in high school sports, when you've already got a tier of schools that are habitually going to be good. Now, again, not everybody is going to be in this model, but the 3A class is pretty much like that, the class where you see the bulk of the advantage, so to speak. But when you look at Royal, right? I mean, no problem there. They've won plenty of state championships. Linden's won plenty of state championships. Tumwater, and of course is now on the map here for 2A. 4A, Lake Stevens Public Schools played in, I think, 3 out of the last 4 out of the last 5. Yeah, there's just a lot that needs to be dissected, and it's worth talking about at some point. Right now, I mean, we really don't need to get too much deeper in it. I said it's a passionate topic, especially amongst competitive coaches, and competitive programs. You don't want to be put in a situation where you got a really, really, really good team and then you're at a disadvantage when you play somebody that you're going to run into. Like the running joke down here, Matt, is, okay, Kelso made the playoffs. When do they play O'Day? It doesn't matter if they go 9-1, 10-0. That's pretty much just the running joke down here. All right. Let's see here. Boys lacrosse. Let's get on this one real quick. Boys lacrosse has private league. In my opinion, it hurts competition. The top tier public teams have no competition. It's the same 3 teams in the state title every year. I mean, there's a little bit of a mixed bag down, but for the most part in 3A, it's been Bellevue, Eastside Catholic, and O'Day. Can you think of another exception? Yelm was just there. They're up in 4A now. So public schools can break through. Anything else to add on that front, Matt, before we veer off?
No, you pretty much
get back on the track.
head. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Mount Tahoma, by the way, like we just said, they pull off the upset against Decatur. They now get to take on O'Day in the 2-10 matchup. Eastside Catholic will take on Lincoln of Tacoma, who got a lot from Central Valley in that game, 34-28. And then Bellevue Kennewick doubles up on Enumclaw 40-20. And then Seattle Prep will take on Roosevelt in an all-metro affair in round number 2. I feel pretty good about who I have advancing here in the semifinals beyond this round, because I'm pretty sure almost everybody who filled out a bracket has Bellevue, Roosevelt, O'Day, and Eastside Catholic. Tell me there's somebody who has something different out there, Matt.
There actually is one person who will remain nameless, but they have Lakes. They had Lakes going.
Oh, that's too bad.
In the semifinals. Other than that, there's somebody who has Lincoln of Tacoma going through. A couple people have Lincoln of Tacoma going through. 3 people have Lincoln of Tacoma going through. Another person has Lakes there. Somebody had Decatur going through. Okay. Another Lincoln. Lincoln was the popular pick off of out of the other 4 there. There's another Lakes. There's a Lakes and a Lincoln of Tacoma. Yeah, it's mostly just those 4.
Justin, I'm aware I was using it as a point that public schools win state championships. I know that they're not private school.
Wait, Royal's a public school? This is news to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think
they just
thing I want to throw out
an offer to our kids, didn't they? They want us to move up there, relocate, and raise our kids there.
Seriously. One thing that I would like to throw out there about the 3A bracket is I think that the emoji is probably the best way to because you look at it and I mean, we were the biggest discussion points were, should Lakes have been a 4? No, they lost by 20.
No.
Where should Decatur have been? Doesn't matter. They lost.
They're out.
How good is Lincoln? Where should Lincoln be? They squeaked by against, Central Valley. I mean, it was just,
it's the tiers, man.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, I think that we knew that they got 1, 2, 3, and 5 right. And I think that that's pretty much all that's going to matter in this one, to be honest with you.
You watched The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan doc?
Yeah, the little.
Oh God, the dude when he was playing the quarters against the wall, the dude with the permed out mullet, John or whatnot. Oh, dude, with that's right. He hits him with the shrug, bro. It's so funny. Every time I see the shrug, I think about that moment. Yeah, dude, 3A's turned out almost exactly how I thought it would, and I think you and I were identical, honestly, about where we were at in 3A. I'm interested to see how it turns out this week, though. I really am. I want that Eastside Catholic Lincoln Tacoma game. I think that there's a lot of potential for that being a really close game. I even think that Bellevue Kennewick can stylistically be another close matchup for Bellevue in that game.
Yeah, it's gonna. I think that that game's gonna be. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not so certain about that game. I know that that they're both they are stylistically similar, but I feel like Bellevue's gotten their speed bump, and I think that now the Ferrari can just take off and go up to Montlake.
Still got a couple stops before it unloads at the
Mhm.
dog pound, though, Matt. And yeah, DJ's all on O'Day Roosevelt in the title game, a rematch of their game from earlier this season. And I mean, Roosevelt had that game against Eastside Catholic that they should have won. And,
Mhm.
they feel, like I said, we keep coming back to it. I feel like every week when we talk about Roosevelt, I mean, week number 1 against Camas, 12-6. That's the toughest game that Camas has got, other than the league game that they played against Skyview, 24-14. So, yeah, I mean, Roosevelt and O'Day, that could be the game, could be the pick. I don't know if Seattle Preps really got a shot against Roosevelt this week, but
Never know.
a 20-point win against undefeated Lakes looks nice after the first week, but I think Roosevelt's going to have a pretty easy time in that ball game, honestly.
Yeah, I do too.
All right. Where should we go next, Matt? We've already talked a little bit about 4A and 3A and 2B. That leaves us with the 2A, the 1A, and the 1B. Any requests?
I don't know. Let's leave it up to the people.
Okay.
2-minute flash poll, YouTube, and let's go. What do you guys want to hear next? 2A, 1A,
Yeah.
1B.
Yep.
2-minute
I'm gonna.
timer starts now. I've got the I'm starting the
I got.
timer.
I got a Coke break. We should
Go
have
for
like
it.
music, like
We should.
I got a nug with sweet and sour sauce. I'm gonna force y'all
There
to
we go. 2
watch
minutes,
me eat it.
guys. It's going.
Anyway, real quick while we're waiting for that 2 minutes, after I down this nug, I just want to say Penn State is the biggest fraud in the history of college football playoffs. That they have played absolutely nobody. How they are ranked as high as they are is unbelievable. Shout out Boise State getting into that 4 spot potentially. What happened to the Cougars last week? I thought they were a good team. I thought we beat Washington. Did you beat New Mexico though? Did you? Way to go. Indiana, you're telling me if they lose one game, they're going to drop off the map? And then what happened, BYU? And SEC, shut up. This is what happens when you add Oklahoma and Texas and everybody and their auntie to the conference. They're going to be good. You're going to lose games. There's 12 teams in the playoff. If you can't be a definitive top 12 team, shut up. Don't talk to me about it. If you're not in the championship game or winning the championship, I don't care what your resume looks like with 3 losses at the end of the year. Shut up and win.
Skip Sisson, everybody. So I have a quick, as we have 30 seconds left on the clock.
No one's typing in where they want. Jeez,
I'm just gonna say let's just go 2A.
Okay.
My quick hot take on the seeding committee, the playoff committee, really comes down to one thing. And I'm a 1A. Meg Wachnick says 1A. There it is.
There's
There's
a
our
vote.
vote. 1A.
There's a vote.
My biggest thing with this committee is just how in the hell is SMU ranked above BYU when BYU has a head-to-head on the field victory over SMU? Explain that to me, committee. Explain it to me. It makes no sense. Absolutely. And I am not a BYU fan, though this year I have watched a lot more of their games than I have in the past. But how in the hell is BYU ranked below SMU? It just doesn't make any sense. Does not make any sense to me. But anyways, that's my soapbox. Let's talk 1A, shall we?
Let's do it. SMU boosters have cash, we're being told.
Apparently.
Last week, 8-9 matchup, Linden Christian takes care of Cascade Christian hyphen Puyallup 40-14. Nooksack Valley wins a fairly closer game than I figured it would be over Zilla 23-12. Life Christian Academy rises up from the dead in the fourth quarter to knock off Kings 46-41. And then Montesano has little to no trouble with OMAC 31-6. Montesano remembering what it feels like to win in the first round of the playoffs. And stage is set now, Matt, for round number 2. We got all chalk in the round of 2, or the quarterfinals. And I got to be honest with you, I had Kings over Life Christian Academy. That pick looked good until 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I had that one as well. I think that one of the things that we saw going in week 10, if I remember correctly, Cascade Christian was ranked above Linden Christian, and when they both won, a lot of folks were reaching out to me like, "What do you think?" And I think the committee A got it correct. Putting Linden Christian, obviously, we see that result. But yeah, like you said, the Kings one kind of it. I was very intrigued to see that score. Life Christian is there. I mean, they're both really good teams, and it just proved that good field in 1A right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the way the Kings played against Kalama the week before gave everybody a really good idea about how good they can be. And for 3.5 quarters of the game, they were exactly that. They were really good, and didn't look like Life Christian was going to be able to advance, but they saved their best football for, like I said, the last 3 minutes of the ball game, and then they squeeze it out. Kind of makes you think like what they're going to have left in the tank, having to come back from that game against a well-rested Seton Catholic coming up this year. And Seton Catholic has been had their eyes on not only getting back to the semifinals, but getting beyond that. They want to play for a state championship this season. Really interesting to see what Life Christian is going to bring in that game, with Kings and Seton Catholic both playing Kalama, both of them dispatching Kalama with ease this year. I don't really know if Life Christian is going to be able to give Seton a test, but that'll be a game that's going to be very intriguing to me.
I think it's going to be high scoring too. I think both teams get over 35.
A little bit of news here. Colton Lentz was out for the Nooksack last week. It would have been more lopsided. He's going to be hungry this week. Watch out! ! Well, the good news is that Colton Lentz is back. The bad news is they play Royal. So
I play Kashmir.
Oh, Kashmir. Excuse me. Wrong side. My mistake. Linden Christian plays Royal, other team from Northwest. That's what it was. Oh, well, now I look like an idiot. Well, hey, they still have to travel to Kashmir. We'll see how it goes, though.
It should be an interesting game there over at the Apple Bowl there. Nooksack was down 12-7 going into the fourth quarter, and they had a senior converted wide receiver score a couple touchdowns late to lift them to that victory there over Zilla.
Montesano beating OMAC 31-6. The Pioneers got a road win last year at La Center, which happens to be the team that Montesano is advancing to take on for the second time this season in the quarterfinals. Yours truly, N2 Media, will be live on the scene streaming that game at 1:00 Saturday from Woodland Stadium at Woodland High School, the Beavers Den. I don't know what to expect in this game here, Matt. If I was the bookmaker for this one last week, I would have told you La Center would probably open up as about a 7.5 point favorite here. My sources are telling me that the line is coming down, that it's looking a little bit more like La Center -4. I think a lot of the money has been coming in here, so to speak, on Montesano pulling the upset. We did have a question here, better chance of an upset, Montesano versus La Center or Life Christian versus Seton? I'm going to answer that right now here, Matt. I'll let you jump in next. But Montesano, to me, has a better chance of winning this game in my mind than Life Christian does against Seton Catholic, only because I feel like that Life Christian had to really fight for their lives to get to this point. And I think Seton being well rested, a little bit further travel as well in that game. And I believe it's a real late kickoff Saturday night at 7 o'clock
Yep.
at Doc Harris Stadium in Camas. Seaton's got a considerable advantage playing in that stadium. I think Seaton's gonna end up winning that game by probably 10 to 17 points. Montesano and La Center have already played this year, and it was at Montesano, but it was minus Felix Romero, a linebacker for Montesano. And, they've got a really, really solid linebacking core now that they're all healthy at Montesano. And when you've got a game that's already on film, right, and you could dissect how your opponent beat you, I'm going to go way back in the way, way, way back time machine. When I was a young man, believe it or not, and I was playing football at Huntington junior high school, we played our ninth grade season. We played Skyview. Mind you, Skyview was brand new, like at this point. And we played them in like game number 3 of the season at home, and we got absolutely blasted. They had a couple of guys that just ran roughshod all over us. Well, we ended up scheduling them again in our second to last game 5 weeks later. And we held a 13-7 lead up until the last drive of the game on the road at their place. And it was like one of the most emotional losses. They came out with like a 7-minute drive to put the game away with like a minute to go. It's still a haunting loss, by the way, as you can tell. When you play a team a second time and you learn how you got beat, you have a really good opportunity to fix your mistakes and come back stronger the next time. I know I'm taking a lot of time here to say I think Montesano has a real chance of winning this game. Would not shock me if they do.
I have Montesano before the bracket challenge. Like in the bracket challenge, I have Montesano in the semifinals. So yeah, I fully expect Montesano to win the game.
Fully expect.
Fully expect.
Woo.
Yeah, fully expect him to win.
Man, you and Justin talking at night? Is he?
But yeah, we send our smoke signals to each other across the state. But now I fully expect Montesano to come out and win. I also I have Nooksack Valley beating Kashmir. I fully expect both of those results to happen. I just I feel
I do
like
too. I have that game. I have Nooksack winning that game.
And the biggest thing is like it's not really it's more I just feel more confident about Montesano and Nooksack as opposed to I don't like I'm high on Kashmir. I'm high on the center. I'm just a little bit higher on the other two teams.
Good questions. Keep them rolling in here. Double header at Camas. Seaton's at 7 at Doc Harris, and then of course Camas playing there at 1. That's a great location to be on Saturday for doubleheader football action. I feel a sneeze coming on.
The Apple Bowl has a pretty solid doubleheader as well in Wenatchee.
Yeah, that Okanagan, right, in that one?
Yeah, Okanagan, Trices Prep at 4, and then Nooksack Valley Kashmir at 1.
I think that we would be doing a disservice to the teams participating in this game, but you mentioned Nooksack Valley, and we both said that we have them winning that game against Kashmir fully healthy, but Linden Christian Royal, any chance at all from Linden Christian? They were the last team to beat Royal in a game. I say no.
Year. Not this year.
Yeah.
In years past, yeah, I look at that game and I go, ooh, that's a tough one. But yeah, no, I just this isn't your mom's Linden Christian team. This isn't even your older brother's Linden Christian team. I think this is the one that's I think this is the valley before they kind of start peaking again in the next year or two.
I wonder what game Meg's going to be covering because they're going to be like Camas is going to be playing at 1, La Center will be playing at 2, and then Seton Catholic back at 7. And I think that's all and then Skyview as well plays. So Meg wants to know how you think Royal would have fared in the Mid-Columbia Conference.
I could second. Yeah. I think that's a very good question. That's something I always think about. But yeah, this year I think second place for sure. I think that obviously Chiawana would probably beat them by a couple, maybe 2, 3, 4 touchdowns. But I think that they could have taken Richland. They could have taken Kamaikan. Kennewick. I mean, that would have been a tough game. I could see second. I think that Kennewick game would be really, really tough.
Meg hates Camas won't be at our game. That can't be true. I saw Camas put together a really nice package for her or something like that with like a sign or a cake, maybe both. I don't know. For what was it? 100th game, 200th game covered? I can't remember what it
I
was.
think it's the
So
100th. I think it was the 100th game, if I remember correctly. Yeah, dude, Meg's the
Meg loves
best.
Skyview. Yep, she's going to Skyview at Sumner. That's okay. That'll be a good game.
That will be a good game.
I think that would be a really good game, honestly.
Oh, 200.
All right, let's move
Sorry,
on.
sorry, sorry.
Oh, go
200.
ahead.
200. Meg says in the chat here, it was her 200th career game, and she says, "I'm old, but 29's not old, Meg. 29 is just in your prime."
Yeah, I mean, I just turned 41. I feel pretty old, so yeah. I'm so old that I'm officially in I don't give a you know what mode with my beard, so
Mm-hmm.
I'll not even care. I'll save that for some other time. This will be my 50th live stream. Speaking of milestone numbers, not live stream ever, but football live stream 50, and it's going to be arguably the biggest game I've done football since Ridgefield at Squalicum up in Bellingham at Civic Stadium, which was an awesome game for a little while. I got a chance to see a couple of Washington State Cougars in that ball game, so I'm very much looking forward to getting 50 in the books there. And I mean, yeah, I'll probably have that many basketball games this year, honestly. So I hope not. But all right, let's move on here. So now we've got 1B and 2A to get to. Let's go to 1B real quick. Sorry, 2A crowd. We're gonna go down to 1B and put a stop to that real quick here. It won't take too long. Liberty Christian 66-0 over Acosta. DeSales 30-0 over Kilseen. Elmira Cooley and Heartline 48-0 over Enchilium. Nia Bay smokes Wakaiyakam, almost identical scores, Matt, in the rematch, 70-14 Nia Bay. Wilbur Creston and Keller nearly got to 100 as they beat Watersville Mansfield 94-26. And then our upset last week, Matt, Garfield Palouse 62-34 over Entiat. Nacelle 70-0 sleepwalks against Moses Lake Christian. And then Pomeroy beats Odessa 52-12. Good win there by Pomeroy, I feel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A really big win for their program. I mean, yeah, they've got a long bus ride coming up this week against Nacelle, but I mean, they're very senior heavy at the skill positions, and I think that it could be a good win for them, or a good game coming up for them. It could be a positive result. The one game that I kind of want to highlight is I just wanted that. I mean, I think Wilbur Creston Keller has spies that are watching everything that I'm saying about them and just how high I am on Liberty Christian, because that game was 72-12 at halftime. They just came out and just rolled over Waterville Mansfield. I don't have lots of stats from games this week, but this stat line here just got me. This is Davian Adams. He's a senior, number 6 at Wilbur Creston Keller. 10 carries, 200 yards, 5 touchdowns. They had, as a team, they ran for 422 and had nine rushing touchdowns. It was just blew my mind. But
you're saying that there's some bulletin board material, perhaps?
I'm saying that maybe they have been hearing everything that I've been saying about Liberty Christian this year, and they're just like, we need to shut that Evans guy up. And, Kennedy Catholic did the same thing this last week after their game. I got lots of messages from those guys saying, hey, we heard you. I'm like, that's them. And yeah. I always say, you guys know where to find me.
Yeah. They gave you the old, what happened? Oh, no. Look at that. You hate to see it. Yeah, I think that, honestly, we got a really good set of games coming up in 1B here. I will go on record, and I'll say that I think Liberty Christian really won't have any problems with DeSales in that game. No offense to the DeSales crowd who wants to send me DMs as well if you want, but that won't happen either, even if they did win. Elmira Cooley, Heartline, Nia Bay, that looks like it's going to be a really good game. What's your take on that Wilbur Creston Keller Garfield Palouse game? Knowing that Garfield Palouse has played such a tough schedule this year, do you think they can hang tight with Wilbur Creston Keller?
They actually played earlier this season.
I
believe they played in week 3, maybe. I'm pulling it up real quick. They played in week 3. It was 74-18 Wilbur Creston Keller.
Oh, so no.
Yeah. So yeah. And in that game, Wilbur and Keller ran for 443 yards.
Ah,
So yeah, I don't see that one. I don't see, in all honesty, I don't see any upsets in this one. I think that Nia Bay, Elmira Curly Heartland is the closest, but the biggest one thing is going to be there is, can ACH contain Nia Bay's senior running back? If they can, then I think it's going to be pretty smooth sailing for the Warriors there. But if they can't, then that may be the one that nips them.
I think that Nacelle Pomeroy game could be pretty good too. Honestly, I mean, Nacelle hasn't played too many really tough teams this year. It'll be interesting to see how that game goes.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle of bus legs too for Pomeroy there, but Kyle Kimball knows how to get the guys motivated. I mean, obviously not a long, too long of a trip coming down for the Southeast Championship game down here in Richland, but that team played really well for the first 25 26 minutes against Liberty Christian. So yeah, if they can keep it tight and they can limit their turnovers, there's a good chance that they could, possibly take Nacelle to the wire.
Well, me and Matthew King are tied for first with 8 points
Second.
so far.
Sorry. Go ahead. I thought we were talking overall. Go ahead. No, sorry.
No, it just 1B. Yeah, and it says here that you're right behind us here. Which game did you miss on?
I missed on the. I missed Quilcene and DeSales.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm excited. Brandon Walsh, Untitled. Oh, come on. We can't be giving awards to Untitled.
That is a writer over here in Eastern Washington. He is actually in 5th place overall.
Well,
Matthew Strissel. Good dude.
Liberty Christian, Nacelle, Elmira, Cooley, Heartline, Wilbur, Crescent, Keller, with Liberty Christian winning. We've got the same bracket, so it'd be a tie. We need tiebreakers before that game. We need to figure out something for tiebreaker.
And it's overall,
Overall?
You're both going overall. That's the only one that matters.
Okay. All right. Well, let's finish it up here with where we're at in the 2A bracket. This is where everybody's really, really itching to, get some conversation pieces in, because just like in that 4A bracket, there were a ton of close games. Not. Tumwater over Cedar Crest 44-0. This one actually was a really close game. Seaholm beats Othello late with a 2-point conversion, 22-21 on the road. Linden has no problem with Fife 38-6. That makes me really scared for everybody who plays Linden, by the way, Matt. Having seen Fife already this year and how big up front those guys are. Archbishop Murphy blanks Ording 31-0. Anacortes blanks Bainbridge 46-0. West Valley Spokane survives a game against Prosser 29-28. Franklin Pierce beats East Valley Yakima 40-21, and then WF West wins 33-7. Taj Brumfield was quick to tell me that I thought that was going to be a close game, which apparently at 26 points in high school is not close, according to sources. So, yeah, I guess I kind of slightly maybe overestimated Olympic or underestimated WF West, whatever combination of that you want to go with. That's what ended up happening.
Sorry, answering a comment on the Yahoo or the YouTube chat real quick.
Coach Levesky says that he's all in on Tumwater and wants to make sure that's on record. It's on record. Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of people on Tumwater, by the way. I think that this bracket is one of the more divided brackets that you're going to find across the land. I think that there's a lot of people that are on the contingency of the Northwest Conference, and then there's another faction that says, no, Tumwater's just beaten the brains out of everybody so far this season. So
yeah,
those kids breathe football coming out of the womb.
Pretty much everybody has, it's either Anacortes or Tumwater, unless they have like a school in their title. They pretty much are. It's pretty much split down the line of who who people think are going to win in that 2A prediction.
They must have really good steroids in Royal City or something like that. Need to get to the physicians here and find out what's being prescribed. We need to check the water filtration as well.
They
Yeah,
they took the fluoride out of the water already. That's what it was.
that's probably it. So yeah, back to the 2A bracket real quick. The sidebar for Royal. I'm not really shocked about any of the results last week. I mean, we both, I think, had Prosser over West Valley in that game, and it turned out to be real close. I think we both also had Seaholm over Othello, a pair of 1-point games there. But I think that the 2A bracket with the tiers, it was pretty easy to figure out overall.
Yeah, the top 6 are separate are better than the next ones, and we're going to have some really good matchups there with WF West, Franklin Pierce, and Linden and Archbishop Murphy. I think those two are going to be the best games of the weekend. I don't know, that Seaholm Tumwater game is intriguing to me. Like I'm all in on Tumwater as well, but there's some Seaholm's just been kind of a sneaky team this year, and I think it's maybe an easy to overlook, the 4th best team coming out of the Northwest Conference.
Coach Levesky wants to know, wasn't Seaholm a 0-win school just a couple of years ago? What's the deal with their turnaround? We might want to check the water supply. We might want to get with the doctors and the physicians. Might be some prescriptions going on. No, just using the Royal plug and play there. Oh, Danny seems to think that I'm starting a war out here with that. So yes, the rumors. I think that there's probably been some proposed investigations when you're winning 7 out of 8 titles. It kind of reminds me of the De La Salle, when the game stands tall, that movie and stuff, where Bellevue ends the streak. I can't remember how many games that was up to. Like, it was 180 or something like that straight games that team had won before Bellevue beat them.
Yeah, something like that. Seaholm was 0-10 back in 2016.
Okay. Well, I mean, they got a really good wide receiver, and then they've also got a really good quarterback. So, I mean, that helps when you got a connection like that. It was a stylistic game too, Matt, between them and Othello. Two teams that like to just do things just a little bit differently. So, 151 for the winning streak. Yeah, that's pretty impressive, by the way. Royal's not on one of those kicks, though. I mean, still, they had like a 38-game win streak just a couple of years ago. So, Seaholm came in and did their summer camp with 3A, 4A, Mid-Columbia Conference. They're definitely challenging their kids. Well, they got a challenge this week here, too, honestly, with playing Tumwater. When we talked about the bracket last week, Matt, I mentioned how Tumwater has a tougher side of the bracket. I'm not saying they're not going to be able to navigate it, but now they're going to definitely be facing 2 Northwest teams over the next 2 weeks. They got Seaholm this week, and then the winner of Linden Archbishop Murphy. I guess, the same could be said about whoever comes out of that game. That's a rematch of a league game between those 2 teams. Linden winning that one 7-3 earlier in the year. On the bottom side, you got Anacortes and West Valley Spokane, and then you got Franklin Pierce against WF West. For my money, Matt, I really think that Anacortes got the best draw possible here.
Absolutely.
I'm going to reiterate that. West Valley Spokane being undefeated, I think that their game against Mark Morris and their game against Prosser tells us that they may not be quite what their record suggests. There might be a little Penn State-ish vibes going on right there.
Yeah, I've been another team that I can say all year, West Valley Spokane. I've just been kind of like, I'm just not 100% sure about them, and they're gonna. I mean, they have an extremely tough game this week, and I think that this is we're gonna see what we thought. That they really are. That we're gonna see where that first tier really just the jagged edge of it is as that 7 seed goes up to play the 2.
I'm not really sure if I would consider it an upset here, but Archbishop potentially beating Linden to me, Matt, doesn't seem like an upset at all.
No.
I think that's going to be a knock 'em out, drag 'em out game. It's going to come down to the last 2 minutes, as most football games do when you get to this level of the postseason. But the game I'm really, really intrigued by is that Franklin Pierce and WF West game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm really having a hard time picking up a beat here on how good both of these teams are. And I'm not saying that Franklin Pierce hasn't really tested themselves yet, but we know WF West has played Tumwater, and obviously we knew how that result went. Is the gap that significant between Tumwater and WF West? I don't know, but I have a feeling this game is going to be really close between these two teams.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's going to come down to, um, I think it's going to come down to turnovers. I think that if WF West can force multiple turnovers from Franklin Pierce, I think that WF West wins the game. But if Franklin Pierce is able to dictate the tempo and hold the ball for 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes at a time, then I'd limit the amount of possessions. Then I could see Franklin Pierce winning the game. Ultimately, I have Franklin Pierce winning it. But yeah, I could see. I would not be surprised in either result.
Yeah, I think the CWAC was really tough, top to bottom this year.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that they're bad because they didn't put a team into the second round? I don't think so. I think Prosser having travel, losing by one, Seaholm coming over to Othello, winning by one. I mean, those are just close losses. It's a tough result. East Valley actually, kept it a little bit closer than I thought it would be, considering they're a 14th seed coming in here. I just don't know, though, with Franklin Pierce yet. I guess I thought for sure that they were going to be like a real juggernaut, at least the first couple of rounds. I figured that we would really see what they were made of if they made it to the semis and took on like an Anacortes. But WF West does have the ability to stretch the ball down the field, and they obviously got a really good quarterback in Brumfield. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how that game plays out. Can WF West jump in front, or can Franklin Pierce basically Tumwater WF West? Can they hold the ball? Can they run it down their throat? And that's the game's going to be won on the defensive side for WF West. If they can slow down Franklin Pierce and get him off the field, I think they've got a real chance to win the game. I'm not changing picks. I'm still going to go with Franklin Pierce, obviously, because I put it on paper. But that's another styles make football games matchup there, Matt.
Absolutely. It's going to be a very, very fun one to watch.
Yeah. So that covers pretty much everything that we did or that we talked about last week into this week for all the games that were played, and then the games that we got coming up this week. I think that we've all pretty much made our picks as to who we're going with. I really don't have anything spectacular in terms of upsets here. I did have Liberty Christian over Napavine, but yeah, that's not going to happen. So I don't know. We're going to talk potential upsets with Montesano beating the center and maybe a couple of other teams. But did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
I'm not sure. I'm just going to go back through and look at my picks again and just make sure I'm
Sure.
feeling good about that. I think, yeah, I was going to say, I feel like I'm pretty confident in what I think is going to happen. I've got, just to remind the people, 1B, I've got Liberty Christian beating DeSales. I've got ACH over Nia Bay. I've got Wilburcrest and Keller over Garfield Palouse, and I've got Pomeroy beating Nacelle. In on the 2B side, I've got Okanagan over Tri-Cities Prep. I've got Onalaska over Freeman. I've got Asotin over LaSalle, and then I've got Napavine over Adna. In the 1A, I've got Royal over Linden Christian. I've got Nooksack Valley over Kashmir. I've got Seton Catholic over Life Christian. I've got Montesano over the Center. 2A, I've got Tumwater over Seaholm. I've got Archbishop Murphy over Linden. I've got Anacortes over West Valley. I've got Franklin Pierce over WF West. 3A, I've got Bellevue over Kennewick. I've got Roosevelt over Seattle Prep. I've got O'Day over Mount Tahoma, and then Eastside Catholic over Lincoln. And then finally, I've got Camas over Arlington. I've got G Prep over Kennedy Catholic. I've got Sumner over Skyview, and then I've got Chiawana over Lake Stevens.
I was just looking at some of the predictions here. There's a pretty like even split between excuse me, WF West and Franklin Pierce here. It's probably one of the more evenly picked quarterfinal games.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at that, but yeah, I don't have all my predictions pulled up right now. I think I pretty much have them memorized, but let's see. So 1B, I got Liberty Christian. I got Elmira Cooley Heartline, Wilbur Crescent Keller, and then Nacelle over Pomeroy. And then 2B, I've got Okanagan, Onalaska, Asotin, and I had Liberty Bell, so that's not going to happen. I'll just say I think Nap Fine will win that game against Adna. And then 1A, I got Chalk, got Royal. Oh, excuse me. I guess technically I don't. Nooksack Valley is a 5. I got Royal, Nooksack Valley, Seton Catholic, and then I have La Center. 2A, I've got Tumwater, Linden, Anacortes, Franklin Pierce. And then 3A, Bellevue, Roosevelt, O'Day, Eastside Catholic. And then 4A, it's going to be Lake Stevens, Camas, Kennedy Catholic, and Sumner. That's what I got.
It's going to be fun.
I think Skyview has a puncher's chance versus Sumner. If they win, do they steal the home game in the semifinals?
No, that's a rule that was changed this year, I believe, that the higher seed will host no matter what.
Well, there's a 3-6 matchup going on the other side of it, so they would still be ranked lower than them.
Yeah, so exactly. Skyview, no matter what, would be playing on the road this finals.
Yeah, they don't have any. There's no potential for them to get a home game at all, because if the only team that they can match up with that is a higher seed than them is Arlington, and that would have to be the championship game for it to happen, and it's going to be at Husky Stadium. So, yeah,
it's gonna be a fun weekend. Excited to see, some great football, and hopefully, everyone travels safe. Hopefully, we get some power restored to some places. There was a question up there earlier. My buddy Josh asked about the power situation in Bellevue, and are they able to practice, and what's the expectations and stuff. I didn't see any answers from Danny there, but I'll have to reach out to him and see how they're dealing with that situation up there. And
nice. Yeah, I mean, not nice not having power, but yeah. Obviously, the weather's going to be pretty bad this weekend as well. A lot of rain, a lot of wind.
Yeah, it's definitely going to favor those teams that like to run the ball.
Yeah, the Stanwoods of the world.
The Franklin Pierces of the world.
The Franklin Pierces of the world. I mean, what do you think is going to be a better game? Franklin Pierce, WF West, or La Center, Montesano?
Like in terms of entertainment value, or just which game I think is going to be closer in score?
Closer in score.
I'd probably go Montesano La Center. I think it'd be close though. I think maybe a 7-point difference there, maybe 7 or less, and then maybe like 7 to 10 in the other one.
I've been told that Matt King might be joining us next week.
Oh my gosh. Is the stream big enough for 2 Matts?
I don't know, but
am I gonna have to go by Matthew next week?
He's a WF West alumni, and I know that he picked the Bearcats to win this week. So I mean, for his sake, you better hope that they get that done. Otherwise, no holds barred.
That's gonna get if Franklin Pierce gets that done this week. That's gonna give me a good run to the finals. There, I could give me an inside track for that overall title. Because a reminder, everybody, correct points this week are worth 2 points. So you know,
Did you go perfect in 2A?
say that one more time.
Did you go perfect record in 2A this last week?
I did not. Let's see. No, I missed one. I did not actually go perfect in any of them. 2A, I missed Prosser, West Valley, Spokane. Damn Mustangs.
I'm trying to check to see. Yeah, I missed one in every one of them except for 1B. Who did I miss on here in 4A? Oh, I had Graham Kapowson over Arlington. That makes sense.
Yeah, sometimes it's better not to pick the upset, Matt. Goodness gracious.
Yeah,
We actually
if
have
Lakes
we actually have 3 Matts in the top 6 between Matt King, Matt Stressel, and me.
if Lake Stevens wins, I'll be in pretty good shape this week.
They're not going to win.
Oh,
Put it on the board. Take it.
are you sure?
I'm sure. I don't think that game's going to be close. 28
No,
points. Nope. 42.
28.
42.
You'll give me
14,
20. You'll give me 28 right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. 42.
Man, I don't know.
14.
Colton Matson's a pretty good quarterback. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
He has not played a defense like Chiawana this year. Has not.
I saw Rigby's in the state championship game for Idaho.
Yeah, they are. They're pretty good.
Is that who Chiawana played to start the year? Or?
They played Rocky Mountain, who I believe Rigby's playing, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I thought that one of them was playing in the title game that Chiawana played.
Let's see. Rigby played Moses Lake. Let me take a look real quick. I can't remember who, if Rocky made it or not. Oh no, Rocky lost to Rigby in the semifinals. 21-18. Rigby's playing Eagle. Eagle made it? What? Eagle beat Coeur d'Alene. Oh my gosh, I did not know that. Wow, that was a big upset. Rigby and Eagle, that's going to be a good game because Eagle played, if I remember correctly, Eagle played Westland. Yeah, Eagle played Westland as well. 51-14 loss, but yeah. Wow. Man. Wow.
Sounds like Westland's pretty good.
And Westland is pretty good. They're all right. They're pretty good.
You know why they're good? Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, because their mascot's the lion, and they're green and yellow.
And isn't that where John Engel is coaching now? The old Camas coach. That's why they're good. That's why they're good. It's because they got that Camas power.
Is it there or what's the other one there? Central Catholic.
It's not Central Catholic. It's not Central Catholic. I'm fairly certain it's Westland. I'll look it up real quick. Let's see. Yep, it's Westland. Boom. Let's go. They got a great
Kelso versus O'Day in the finals is going to be pretty lit, man. I can't wait to see it.
I thought Kelso was playing Kingston in the final.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Kelso Kingston. Battle of the K's.
The Battle of the K's.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
absolutely.
It's gonna be a barn burner.
I heard that it's the Washington 5A championship. Honestly,
oh, that's right. Washington 5A, the most that is the most competitive classification.
I heard a rumor that they import royal water there.
Probably do.
See, yeah, absolutely. We need to check on these physicians here, man. Figure out what's going on here. What's getting prescribed? What's the school lunch system look like?
Well, it's all free these days, so you know.
Yeah, that's true. God bless our family's wallet.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
Just wait till little Cooper gets into school. It's like, yep, breakfast, lunch, dinner, 3 squares.
Well, thankfully for me, he'll be going to my school, so I'll keep a good watch on him.
Yeah, Preston just turned 10 months yesterday, and oh my gosh, this kid's a moose. He's already got a tryout for the Seahawks coming up at the end of the year. So
That does not surprise me, man. He's yeah, these boys these days, man. My goodness,
yeah,
this kid. I'll tell you, I'm going to throw my back out one of these times trying to catch Carter from jumping over the couch. He's just. I mean, you take your eyes off him for 2 seconds, and next thing you know, they're hanging off the back of the couch, and you're just like, oh my god.
I saw a great comment just a little bit ago on my Facebook page, but I posted that high school basketball starts today, and it's from Josh Beener, and he's like, "It's still football season." It's like, yes,
Yep. Yeah.
this is true. In Anacortes, it's definitely still football season. Yes, for in some places, it's basketball season. So
Exactly.
in Kelso, it's basketball season right now. But yeah, wow. I'm getting set to get basketball all set and go, and I just came up with my girls 2A rankings.
Saw
Holy
that.
shit!
Yeah.
Oh my
Saw
gosh!
that.
I went back and forth on that top 10 right now. I gotta tell you, I'm gonna go. I'll publicly say it right now. The only reason that I've got Linden number one is because they beat Ellensburg in the championship game last year. They are returning a lot. Don't get me wrong, but Ellensburg, I think, is still the team to beat. Like, they return a lot as well, and yeah, wow. If you play that game to me 10 times, I think Ellensburg wins it 8 or 9 times. It just happened to be the way that it went last year. And Deer Park coming up from 1A, and
Mm-hmm.
Nooksack Valley beat Linden last year, right?
Yep.
And they led that game the entire game. Like they
Mm-hmm.
led like 29 out of the 32 minutes of that game, and they had a perfect record. They return everyone. There anybody that's missing from that team. Oh man, dude, Deer Park is gonna light up the world, I think, in 2A this
And
year.
those girls can shoot the three like nobody's business. They're going to be so much fun to watch. I need to go double check their schedule, but I'll tell you, seeing Prosser there at number 4, um, December 10th, Chiawana High School, Prosser Mustangs, Chiawana Riverhawks. I will be there. It's going to be. I don't know if I'm going to stay for the boys' game, but the girls' game, I will be there. 5:30 tip off. It's going to be just an amazing game. And both of those teams, if I remember correctly, I think Prosser boys and Prosser girls are going down to Phoenix for winter tournaments this year. So they're going to get some good out of state competition and get themselves ready for deep runs at state.
That'll be fun. Fear the Deer. Watch
Hey,
out.
I was going to say, man, I'm a huge fan of Deer Park. I was at back in, what was it, 2007, 2008. I was shopping at a Goodwill across the street from the Spokane Arena, waiting for a Tri-City Americans hockey game to get ready to get started. And I found on the rack for $5, I found a Lady Stag softball pullover. And I was like, let's go. And I still have it in my closet. I still like to rock it every so often and just watch my students look at me like, what in the heck is that? It is the best.
That's awesome. The Stags is one of my favorite mascot names.
Dude, you'll love this, man. Deer Park girls are going to the top of the peak tournament at Glacier Peak.
That'll be awesome. That'll be
Dude,
big time.
I'm just looking at this field. Check out this field. Sorry, girls basketball. Here you go. So this is the first round of the top of the peak tournament, Thursday, December 26th at Glacier Peak, 3 p.m. WF West Tahoma. Okay, round 1.
Ooh.
4:45 tip off. Meade, Lake Stevens. 6:30 tip off. Chiawana, Glacier Peak. 8:15 tip off. Lake City of Coeur d'Alene against Deer Park. Just a ridiculous field, man.
I want to see Deer Park win a couple games and play some of those bigger schools. I want to see how they do.
I think that if the bracket is the way, if it lines up the way that it is here, then you would see Deer Park play the winner of Chiawana Glacier Peak in the second round.
Yeah, there we go. No Camus, huh?
No Camus this year. Which national tournament are they going to?
Yeah, they're looking like back-to-back champs this year, I think. But Union is going to be I'm
Yeah.
not. You're not going to be sneaky. That's not a word that I would use to describe Union. They are going to give Camas every bit that they can handle this year. They got a couple of gals that transferred in from Ridgefield last year that led the Sputters. Um, Ridgefield's going to, unfortunately, take a step backwards because of their departure, put it that way. But two of their top players ended up transferring over to Union. So it's going to be, great
Are
season
you
down there in South
you do
Washington.
any streaming of Camus or Union games?
The only Camas game that I did was a game against Ari Long. I don't usually get that far south.
I was gonna say if you get down that area, December 19th, December 20th, the girls are taking on Davis. Davis of Yakima is going down to play Union on the 19th and Camas on the 20th. This will be some really interesting game. Davis girls are very sneaky good this year. They're going to be playing
Oh,
down
yeah.
there at the at one of the holiday tournaments as well, in Portland there after Christmas. But yeah, and their boys. Whew, that's another team that's gonna be a tough team.
I see that Brian wrote that Camas boys basketball coach stepped down on Friday. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I can't remember, but gosh, why is his name escaping me right now? He's an absolute stud for Camas. I think he reclassed.
Was
I
that
can't remember.
Beckett Curry? Was it that
Curry,
kid?
yeah, Beckett,
Yeah.
yep, Curry, yeah. No, it just came to me. But yeah, I can't. I don't know if that means he reclassed like he graduated, or he reclassed like he's got an extra year. And I don't know if he's still at Camus now with that news. Maybe Brian knows, but yeah, Brian's giving me the gasp emoji. That must be because of Janessa and Jalise Chapman transferring. So,
It says here on Twitter that he's still a class of 2025
oh, his
and still
reclass
at
was
Camas.
denied.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, well, he's still really good.
Yes, he is.
He's got range. I saw that kid when he was a freshman, and he was
Mhm.
pretty solid then.
It's kind of how I
Yeah,
felt about what's his name from Tootle Lake, Eric Swanson. That kid
Zach
was the
Swanson.
Zach
Yeah.
Swanson. There you go. That kid. It seemed like he was there for like 10 years. There was a kid who played baseball at Kamaiak in like 2015, I think. He's a third baseman. His name is Drew Ord, and this kid, I swear to you, I could have. It felt like this kid was in high school for like 15 years. It seemed like every time that Kamaikan and Hanford would hook up playing baseball, Drew Ord would have a big hit, and I'd be like, God, that kid hasn't graduated yet. But it's kind of funny that those names of kids that 10 years later you're just like, God, curse that kid.
He's the Cam Rising of high school baseball.
I think this kid eventually graduated. I'm not sure that Cam Rising will ever graduate.
So
Let's see
you
where.
said that you saw the top 10 here. So I had Linden, Ellensburg, Deer Park, Prosser, Archbishop Murphy, WF West, Clarkston, Columbia River, Toppenish, who moves up, returns a lot, West Valley Spokane, who returns a lot as well. Jeff Place uh, was talking to me about it and said that there might only be 3 bids available between
Mhm.
CWAC and GSL. Are you able to confirm any of that or deny it at this point?
I haven't
That'd
done
be a
my math.
travesty.
I have not done my math yet, but I do have a way too early thing going. I may be able to throw some math together here really quick. Let's see what I got. Let's see. Way too early basketball. So let's see.
I hope you
Too
have a
early.
tab that's literally like way too early basketball. Like
No,
I hope it's not
legitimately, it's called way too early basketball. I'll take
good.
a picture. I'll show it to you here. So let's see. Picture. Here we go. Yeah, legit. It's called. Let's see. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. See if we can get in close enough. Come on. Just darken the screen, maybe. Oh, look at that. Or maybe we'll brighten it a little bit more.
I
Who
got
knows?
like I got the binoculars out.
Yeah, it's legit called way too early basketball. Let's see. Can't see it. Come on, focus, focus, focus. It's. I promise it's there.
I
Let me get
believe
closer.
you.
It should be there. I'll I'll send you a screen. I'll send it to you on Twitter.
Okay.
I'll send it to you right now. Here we go. Sent you a link. N2 Media
Who's that
photos.
guy?
I don't know.
What a loser.
Here you go. Sending it to you right now. There it goes.
Okay.
Boom. There you go.
Well, I'll have to. Yeah, I
The
got
app
it
is
here. I
legit.
hope to
Yeah,
take a
it's
look at it.
legit called Way Too Early Basketball.
Yeah, 24-25 way too early basketball Excel spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm. It's a thing of beauty. I can tell you that. Let's see what we got. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So we have,
3
um,
bids.
so we've got how many 2A teams? It looks like we've got a total of 62 2A teams. Between District 5 has 9. So let's go 9 divided by 65. And then you've got what, 7 out of the other one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of the other one. So equals 6 divided by 65. So I have roughly times 16. Yeah, you're looking at probably 3 bids out of D5 and D6.
Travesty.
Yep. So you're probably looking at CWAC 1 gets through automatically. CWAC 2 plays GSL 2, and then GSL 1 plays CWAC 3 for pigtails.
So that would mean
So being like
you could
Ellensburg,
realistically
Prosser,
have
Toppenish, yeah.
you could realistically have a Deer Park versus Prosser game.
Yeah,
You
to
know,
get to state, yeah. Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
that would not be fun. And then you
That's
can't even
absolutely ridiculous.
gotta put in, Clarkston there too has been really good the last few years, and I think they graduated a good amount this year. But they're always a team that, I mean, they're going over to WF West to play this
Mm-hmm.
year. They're playing WF
Mm-hmm.
West and they're playing Rainier in early December.
Yep.
So yeah, you're gonna. I mean, that's the thing that I love about basketball is you see all these teams. You have the ability to see all of these teams go and play against each other, a non-league, and so you get a very good idea of how good teams actually are.
Ooh, I must have overlooked this one. Apparently, Curry is not on the team. Yee.
Interesting.
Not good.
Interesting. Okay. 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 Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
I wonder who's picking him up. Maybe Isaiah Thomas's school.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be basketball is gonna be fun, and those 2A tournaments gonna be great, and 1A is looking to be good, and Yakima's always the place to be when March rolls around. I haven't been to Spokane yet. That's on my bucket list, but Yakima's kind of the one I tend to find myself to when
Josh,
that time.
Josh said just have them join Kingco and get more bids. That's the problem is that you got certain leagues still that are not getting the right amount of bids for how many quality teams that they have. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd let us pigtail with Kingco.
Yeah, dude, I'm really, really getting excited for it. Obviously, we still got a lot to, get through here with football, which, of course, the best games are always the last 2 weekends for the most part. But basketball season starts first week of December. I mean, I got my rough draft of my schedule. I'm gonna trim this down, by the way, because that's a lot. I mean, right off the bat, Seton Catholic and Ari Long basketball for boys. Yeah, Kelso versus Skyview on here. That'll be a good one. And then Columbia River, Ari Long, Columbia River, Mark Morris, Ari Long at Kelso, Evergreen at Kelso. That'll be a big one this year as well. There's going to be a bunch of good games. I'm really excited to have a chance to see. I mean, even on the schedule, I know WF West plays Ridgefield early in the year. So, yeah, that's going to be an awesome time. I'm real excited for it. Seton Catholic's going to have an awesome team for boys basketball. Oh, yeah. They're fresh off of getting their first trophy. They've got an absolute man as a sophomore, Caden Wilson, who is just a rim rocker and super athletic, quick. Yeah, it's going to be a great season.
Looking forward to it.
Spokane, Yakima, Tacoma for state, in my opinion. Well, I'm in Yakima every, the last couple of years. Tacoma's not bad. I mean, I haven't been to Spokane.
Eh,
Tacoma's not bad. I like
mm,
Yakima because it's a little bit. It's a great scenic drive. It's not as long as getting to Spokane from here, and there's minors.
I personally, having been to, I've never, like I said, I haven't been to State B basketball, but just having been to all three of the venues, just as just venue themselves that I would want to go to, it's Spokane, Yakima, Tacoma in that order. I absolutely love Spokane Arena. I think that it's just perfect for State B basketball. I do like the Sun Dome, being that it is literally about 50 minutes from my house, and the other, actually, yeah, it's about 50 minutes to an hour, depending on whether I'm driving or the missus is driving. Um, and the 1 year that I was there doing media stuff, it was just the hospitality was great. I really enjoyed just the people there, and yeah. So, but yeah, one of these
I,
days, definitely want to get up to Spokane for State B.
I will say that this last year, I was a little bit less than impressed with how the media room was
Yeah,
stocked with snacks
yeah,
because
yeah,
the
yeah. The
year
spread
prior,
wasn't too
yeah.
good the year I was
Well,
there.
the coach's room is like an absolute smorgasbord. It's a buffet. Like I think they brought in like Olive Garden one time, and they had a guy with a clipboard and a list. And it was like trying to get into a club, man. Like if your name wasn't on that list, you weren't eating anything in the buffet line. And I was like leaving, like with really, really, really dejected feelings heading back up to the media room because we'd be lucky if there's like a 7 hour
Mhm.
leftover Domino's box.
Oh, see, we had hoagies and lunch meat there for us. I remember stuffing down a hoagie while I was writing up. Let's see, just throw my house. I love, I it's Brian. Um, when it comes to hockey, I hate, like, here's the thing. I love the Spokane Arena. I just hate the Spokane Chiefs. You know, just can't stand them. Can't stand up that stupid Italian goal song. It boils my blood when I hear it. And it just, you show me a Chief sweater, and I just get violently angry and want to throw something. But the arena itself is very nice, and I definitely enjoy going up there in enemy colors, and getting heckled by the crowds up there. There's nothing better than going to a hockey game with 12,000 people who want to just absolutely destroy you. It's coming away with a victory too is always sweeter.
Josh is saying I can have his food voucher and his spot for the buffet. Josh, I'm there a long time. It's like 4 days at like 16 hours each day. It's not ideal, but it is ideal because I get to watch a ton of really good basketball. But
Well, I'll tell you, I'll get firsthand knowledge of the media spread this year at Husky Stadium. I'll be making the trip up there in a couple weeks, so I'll report back and let you know what the working conditions are going to be like up there.
poor. No, it'll be fine. Jim wants to know how is Mark Morris going to look this year? Competitive, yeah. I mean, I think they're somewhere in the 6 to 7 range right now for getting things started. That's rankings in the state, I would say. They return a couple of really good players, and Dalton Stevens and Jaden Jenkins, uh, Carson Bogner. They are losing a lot of scoring with Braden Olson leaving, so it's tough to replace a guy who scores almost 30 points a game. Um, but I think that they're going to be sneaky competitive, and not really sneaky in terms of like this area. Mark Morris is not really sneaky. They're always in the playoffs. Bill Backus is not going to be there for the first time in
Mhm.
31, 32 years. I mean, that's obviously tough shoes to fill. But the new head coach, Ken Kelly, great guy, hard worker. Got a great assistant coaching staff. They still got their assistants. Bill's longtime assistant Steve Clokey's still in the mix. Mark Morris is going to be Mark Morris. They're going to be a top 3 team. in the league. And yeah, I mean, Dalton Stevens is going to probably be in the running for league MVP. I think they're going to be really good. Both teams from Longview are going to be really good this year. Columbia River is going to be really good this year. I got all three of them in the top 10, and that's where I'm at right now.
I got a response to Brian there asking me to say a specific chant that they would or cheer that they would say up in Spokane. All I have to say to that is one, no Chiefs no, or go Chiefs go home. Those are my
Oh,
two responses to
is that the one you're talking about right there?
Oh yeah, that's the one. That's my favorite when they come down to play us in Toyota Center and they start their little "Go Chiefs Go" chant. We always like to yell "home" at the end of it. So it's that's always a fun one.
Four
Or
food vouchers.
ooh,
If this was a poker game, I'd raise you. I love it. No, I love it. Yeah, so we're expecting though, like February 19th. Like I'm gonna have to. I don't know. I have to make business decisions here. I don't know if I can go to Yakima this year. I did. I did already like lay the foundation though that I think that it could be a special year for a certain team that would be awesome to go and commentate some games for. But as long as Linden's alive and well, it's going to be tough to beat them. But I think Grandview's got a pretty good shot. I think Bremerton and Redden have got a pretty good shot as well. So
I kind
we'll
of
see.
I kind of use the the I'm not really sure how to I kind of used some tools of manipulation to get my trip to Seattle approved by the missus. That last year I was planning to go. It's like, babe, it's the first year they're doing it at Husky Stadium. I gotta go. And then I just happened to have two surgeries right around that time. So this
There you
year I
go.
was just like, I was like, I know you've done a lot of work with your swim team this year, but it would be really cool if I could, blah blah. She just, she's on board, so we're gonna do it. Flying up on Thursday and gonna go to all 6 games and go write recaps and stats and all that stuff. It's gonna be awesome. Looking forward to it. Cannot wait.
You know what I'd love to do, and I don't know if my schedule would permit it. The answer is probably it wouldn't, but I would love for us to be set up with a dais at Husky Stadium, and we like talk preview like college game day style before each
That'd be
game,
awesome.
and then we have guests come up and join us after after the game is over, bring the trophy up, and you know talk about how the game went and stuff. I think that's the next
That's
the
yeah.
next step.
That's the next step. We'll have to figure out who our Pat McAfee is gonna be.
Yeah, well, I could be really annoying, so
If it
I might
means that
put in a
if it means that I get to yell at kids for missing field goals, then I'll gladly take the Pat McAfee mantle. I,
yeah,
I
go
yell
for two.
I yell at kids for a living, so I mean it's fantastic. Talk to KJR.
So last year, Josh, I had a bet with a gentleman whom I have not met still physically in person, who was a big Grandview supporter and was telling me all year long about how good Grandview was. And this was like week 2, week 3,
Yep.
because I had Linden North Kitsap 1 and 2 all year long. And then I said, "Listen, buddy, I will give you the field if you give me Linden North
Yep.
Kitsap. There's no
Mhm.
way anybody else is going to
Mhm.
win the tournament."
Yep.
And I want y'all to know that when Grandview lost in the championship game, he messaged me and said, "Hey, you were right. I owe you. And what's your Venmo?" And I said, "Buddy, I'm not going to take your money." I was like, your heart just got ripped out. You don't need to pay me anything. Just keep watching." But I always, if Linden's a part of the equation and then the field is the other half, I will almost always take Linden. But this year, Matt, this season, I will take the field. I will lay the field out there this time. Losing Anthony Canales is going to be tough for Linden. And they're not only losing him, they're also losing Costin Parcher. They still have Brant Hepner, and I think they got, I want to say, Ty Hollerman back, 6'7" guys. They're going to be big. They're going to be tough. They are Linden. But if there's a year, Matt, where the field can compete, this is it. This is the year.
You know, I chuckle because I know exactly who you're talking about because I've had lots of communication about Grandview basketball being disrespected with the computer rankings last year. But yeah, I think I remember that conversation about the oh my
Linden
gosh,
or
good stuff.
Field. I got Linden. I love it. That's it's not there's nothing wrong. Talk to KJR 93.3. Yeah, no way. No. We're live streaming it, bro. We ain't doing nothing with radio. Get that dinosauric platform out of here. We're doing it live. Danny says, "Oh my god, please do that." Yeah, that'd be a great idea.
Well,
I
Danny,
mean, it
we'll
is a
have
great
to
idea. We just
if you guys are playing up there, Danny, we'll have to get together and meet up on. Hopefully, if I get field access, I'll come down and hang out on the field before during warm up, so we can actually meet face to face.
just a bunch of Dutch people who have game. I thought they're Dutch
It's so
Norwegian too.
true. My
Yeah.
gosh, it's like I have a friend. One of my best friends is from Linden, and he's definitely did not get the basketball genes. He's definitely did not. But
How's that
yeah,
possible? It's like royal.
well, yeah, yeah, he got to about 5'10" and stopped growing. Um,
Oof.
but it's so funny too because I remember we went up to for you'll love this for spring break my first year of college we spent a week in Linden. We did spring break Linden 2005, and I remember when we were driving into town, he just goes, "Now I just want to prepare you. This is pretty much the closest to the Netherlands you'll ever get." And I was like, "Huh?" And then everybody's name was like Vandergraaf, Vanderbeek, all this stuff. And he
Vander
just
Yacht.
yeah, I was like, "Hey, Brian, Brian, I'm 5'10", sound like a knave. Brian, I'm 5'8". Okay, so anything above 5'8" is is a good thing there. They can't mow their yeah, that's true. And if I remember
I'm
correctly,
learning. I'm learning. I'm
if I
learning.
remember correctly, the main entrance to the town like goes through the graveyard, goes through the cemetery. So like to go when you're traveling in to play football, you have to travel through the cemetery to get to the high school. If I remember correctly. It's been 20 years since I've been there, but
I'm 5'10" also. I'm starting to take offense to it. Thanks, Brian. You say it like it's a bad thing. It's only a bad thing in Linden where they're allowed to wear their clogs while playing basketball. Those are wooden shoes for those who don't know. I'm actually Dutch in some capacity, and I'm only 5'10". I've got some Dutch. My ancestors were Quakers, Pennsylvania Dutch.
yeah, they really are the nicest people though too. We
Yeah, that's what people hate though. That's what everyone hates. They hate the fact that they're like not even cocky about being good and who they are, that they're just so nice.
Yeah, I'm very thankful that they were nice because, one of our being 19-year-olds and that close to Canada, you know what our thought process was, and we got pulled over a mile from the border and for a busted taillight, and needless to say, it changed our plans for the night. But he was very
You were
nice
going for
about it.
some poutine?
Oh, absolutely, we were.
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah.
and needless to say, our plans changed for the night, and we ended up hanging out in we went across the border to watch a movie, and just didn't bring back any of the good stuff.
No, you didn't bring any poutine back with you?
No, nothing. Apparently, the movie theater did not sell poutine, unfortunately.
Yeah, I hear that poutine's really popular amongst the 19-year-old crowd up in their neck of the woods.
Absolutely, absolutely. Shout out to the border guards at the Sumas border crossing. You guys are fantastic.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I
Yeah.
can't wait till
Yes,
we get
Josh.
to.
Timmy Hortons for all the kids watching. We were going up to cross the border at 19 for Tim Hortons. That's exactly what we were doing.
I gotta be honest, I'm having a lot of fun. I mean, I haven't been talking about the playoffs for about a good part, about 20 minutes now, maybe. And we're still holding with a few people watching here, so that's really awesome.
How are 17 people still in here? How?
Apparently, somebody said that we do a good job for the community. I don't I don't know if that's true or not, but
I'm not sure which
uh,
community we're talking about, but
yeah. Well, right now it's not the Linden community. That's for damn sure.
now
The
it's
Royal
the
communities had some shots fired here too as well. Royal and Linden, man, they got the same school lunches going out for the kids.
Hey, I was
That's
serious with my answer about they come out of the playbook or came out with the playbook out of the womb up there in
oh
Royal. I mean,
yeah,
it's legitimately the same way it was in Prosser back when the Moors were there. Like legitimately, they just they it seemed like they were Kellen Moore was running that offense from the time he was 7 years old to the time that he was carving up Hanford for 4 years.
just 4 years, huh? He didn't get the 8-year exception.
Oh, thank God he did not.
Like watching a train wreck, boys can't look away. You haven't seen a train wreck yet until we turn off the live stream button.
I know, no, seriously, seriously. I was to say that what was it 2 weeks ago that what we have like 30 minutes afterwards nobody saw. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. Royal, the only place where you can eat and drink your
Can
time
be-
according to a random Othello citizen. Oh man, I don't even want to pull this back on the tracks, man.
oh my gosh.
This is like a joke that writes itself right now. I feel like that we've either become the most beloved show in Washington or the most hated. I don't think there's anywhere in between. Depends on where you're at, I guess. It's
If
pretty
we're back
objective.
if we're back next week, you'll know which side of the tracks we landed on.
Yeah, yeah. Matt
Oh
King's gonna
gosh.
finally be ready to join us. He's like, no shows. We got suspended by every city and every high school. So
Like we're legally not allowed to talk about A, B, C.
yeah,
Can't talk about
we went for
Royal, can't talk about the Dutch.
we went for some
Tap
poutine,
water.
which by the way, the Dutch had better get to the World Cup finals here sometime soon and give me something to be happy about, man.
Nah. Nah, their golden generation's done. It's just like the
I
Belgians.
know
Just like the Belgians, man. The Belgians wasted it all.
they had a shot with Ruud van Nistelrooy, but it didn't work out.
Dude, can you believe that the Belgians had Romelu Lukaku and Axel Witsel and and just like a solid starting 11, starting like great 18-man roster, and they didn't do crap in the World Cup. Just could not. They just wasted that golden generation.
Lukaku, man, Brian, I feel like you're rubbing it in. 7.8 million people in Washington, 17 watching. Yeah,
Yes,
well,
Brian,
hey,
but half of those 7.8 don't have power right now. So,
ooh,
so,
eesh.
so if the
Easy.
math
Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Danny.
if the maths, we should have 34 people watching.
Yeah. Belgians put all their energy into waffles. Facts.
Mhm,
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
absolutely.
All right. Well, I think that we're approaching the witching hour here. It's almost the 2 hour mark. Hey, we're at 22 now, Brian. What do you got to
Yeah,
say about that?
four
Huh?
people got power in the last 5 seconds.
Yeah. God bless PGE, or is that Portland only? I don't know.
That's poor. What's that PSE
Whatever.
up here? I think it's PSE
Yeah.
up.
Just because we're talking PGE, I just want to say that the Timbers suck. So
Yes, yes, yes.
impressive. Good luck with that algebra homework.
Thank
And
you. Well, Brian, I am very good at math because technically math is 4/7 of my name. So
all right. I had a lot of fun tonight, Matt. I appreciate you taking some time out. I appreciate
absolutely.
everybody being with us here tonight in the live stream comment section. You guys made the show amazing. Please make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, Facebook page. Uh, Make sure you're following us on our social media platforms all across the world and the state of Washington, all 7.8 million of you. Can't wait to see the Nielsen numbers on this one by the time it's all done with. But yeah, I'm really excited. Friday, Saturday, we got a couple big games. Obviously, every one of them seems big, but I mean, some really, really good ones I'm real excited about. And I'll be broadcasting at 1 o'clock Saturday for free on YouTube, Montesano against La Center. Should be a banger. Good luck to everybody if you're still in the playoffs. And Matt and I will be back here next week, hopefully, if we're not canceled, to talk about the semifinals and how the quarterfinals played out. And if we're lucky, we might finally be blessed with the presence of that Matthew King, who is going to be spectacularly wrong this upcoming week. So thank you guys again. I am Nick Sisson of N2 Media. That is Matt Evans of Evans Rankings. Hope you all have a great evening. And we're clear